Carlisle Haven, who was happily looking at his wife, realizes she's eager to go home and deal with her affairs. He can't let her go easily, so he kisses her, while Asha became shocked. She bites Carlisle's lip, while he pretends to be in pain. She asks him to behave, but Duke Haven says he just wanted to dispel boredom. Gabriel, slightly disgruntled, reports that His Highness must be pure in both body and soul, as the Lord is now watching them. After the ceremony, Asha changes her clothes and informs Decker that she needs to stay in the capital for a while longer. She asks her team to go home first for deliveries and for Decker to take care of suitable quarters in Castle for Carlisle Haven. The Crown Prince Knights followed them and the excited people wondered who they were. Decker tried to explain that their mistress had decided to marry a prince and explained that it was an arrangement, and in 3 years, they would divorce. The castle staff and the rest of the people couldn't believe this. At a tea party with Carlisle Haven and his brother and the Emperor, Mathios learns he will be responsible for the defense of the south of the Empire and questions why he must defend these territories. But Carlisle explains that he is the current heir now and had no other duties. He only needs to eliminate monsters that appear twice a year. The Emperor and his agitated brother looked at each other. They realized the plan to exile Carlisle Haven was a mistake, as Carlisle had gone to other lands. The Emperor wanted to discuss the requested budget instead. The Emperor questioned the Duke's moving expenses and dowry, which he believed were too much for his son's needs. His brother butt in and argued that 50 million was too much for Pervis and should take in 1 million only. Carlisle explained that Pervis, who had taken 28 years to defeat his enemies, asked his brother if he knew how much had been destroyed and how long it would take to rebuild. He advised his brother to study harder and reported that the Emperor had a lot to explain to his successor and had to learn in just one night what Carlisle Haven had been doing for years. Carlisle Haven left, leaving his brother unprepared and worried. A man suggests that Carlisle Haven and Asha Pervis should work together, surprising Carlisle Haven, who thought he would be against their marriage. The Viscount, who had been Carlisle Haven's advisor, was introduced to Asha. The man is worried about His Highness, who lost the title of prince in his absence, and asks Asha what she knows about Carlisle. She informs them that Carlisle Haven is the crown prince and the best knight in the empire. The man added that also His Highness has the blessing from above. The temple prophesied that Carlisle Haven would prove the prophecy when he grew up, but he was dissatisfied with revoking his title and falsely accused of wanting to possess the emperor's favorite mistress. Asha was surprised because she thought that the accusations were true. He also warns that the Empress and the second prince will defame His Highness's reputation, requiring Asha to protect Carlisle Haven. She promises to protect the man day and night, but Carlisle is confident that he can defend himself. The Viscount thanks Asha Pervis as His Highness can move far away and build up his power without being caught by the Imperial family. Asha's role in politics is crucial for his protection. Asha Pervis asked Carlisle if he is planning for a coup that would threaten her lands. He answered that he will not do it, but rather concerned about the Empress's increased influence. The Viscount is obliged to restore the prince's rights, while Asha Pervis promises to protect him and preserve his throne claim. When the time comes, they will file for divorce and go separate ways. Asha is excited about the boxes being shipped to Pervis. Carlisle Haven asks if she likes looking at the scale, which she finds impressive. She is surprised by the size and the prince's belief in her words. She carefully examines one sack of greens and realizes that if they could plant these, her homeland could be enriched. She realizes with embarrassment that she made the right decision. They decided stopped at night to camp from the capital. A servant knocked on the carriage and informed Carlisle Haven and Asha Pervis that he had taken their things into the Duke's tent. Asha would want to sleep in separate tent, but the Duke calmly reminded her not to forget that they were now officially married. She contemplates rumors that the prince is sleeping with many women when he was in battlefield. She wonders if he doesn't care about sharing a tent with someone like her, as they are only married on paper. Asha reflects on her past experiences sleeping next to men in the open during war, which should be no problem. Asha is making a bed on the floor while Carlisle is uncomfortable. He asked if she really will sleep on the floor, but Asha informs him that it was already a luxury to her since she was used to sleeping on her coat. Carlisle wants to tease her and see her expression, requesting her to help him dress as his wife and/or at least a temporary assistant. He was surprised by Asha's calmness and didn't expect that she will not be affected by his naked body and thought to himself that maybe it's because they are only contractually married. He was a prince admired by other men due to his good body and can conquer any girl. However, he thought that he might only admired by other men on the battlefield. He is then asked what is bothering him, but he just answered that he's feeling sick and lies quietly on his bed. Asha considers having a poor job compared to a trained servant, recognizing it as an unpleasant reaction from the prince. After calmly lying on her bed, she contemplates their future relationship, believing that if it were to be like this, there should be no difficulties. She also believes that Carlisle, who has slept with many women, would not be interested in someone like her. Carlisle Haven was really surprised by Asha's comfort on the floor with only thin blanket. She explained that she was used to sleeping on a cloak on the ground, which she considered luxurious. He asked her homeland and the coldness in the winter. She answered that many people is worried about freezing to death or losing parts of their bodies due to the cold, but Carlisle Haven laughs at her, causing her to think that it might be acceptable in the capital to laugh at someone else's words. The prince asked about Asha's father's military skills, and she revealed that the emperor secretly wanted her father dead. He sent him to harsh places, and despite knowing his intentions, he chose to avoid death. Asha's father remained determined and prepared the people to fight the barbarians, despite threats. Carlisle believed Asha's father was devoted to his people and nation, and he believed he should continue fighting to save them. However, he realized that Asha was also devoted to her people and nation, making the emperor pay for her victory through her insolence. Carlisle asked about her brothers, but she didn't answer due to exhaustion. The second prince, who was outraged, asked his mother if she wanted him to fight instead of his brother. She informed him that he wouldn't even take a step on the battlefield. The empress smiled and told her son that she already had a plan. Asha and Carlisle had arrived at Pervis's territory, where the Duke reveals it's worse than expected. He's worried about the quality of roads after a long war, as they've been there for a long time and everything is not as it should be, with mud fields and no people. She was asked by the prince how much she was expecting to set up the place. She answered that she will need 500,000 on food, medicine, and recovery. Carlisle explained that the amount was not enough to survive the winter, but he congratulates her on her opportunity as he'd take much money to be used for the recovery of Pervis.